Do your knees start to ache when you're going on a long walk or a hike? Do you find yourself paying for it with pain or stiffness when you get back? Is it taking away from the enjoyment of those activities? Well, you are not alone. And there's good news. There are simple strategies you can use to help make walking easier and keep your knees feeling good. As a physical therapist, I'm sharing 6 of my favorite and simple tips you can start doing today to actually enjoy walking again and not have to worry about your knees. Starting off, make sure you warm up. Getting your muscles ready can help to support your joints when out walking, especially when it comes to the knees. Now, there are tons of different warm-up exercises you can use, but here are 2 that I believe are the most effective at helping to warm up the muscles you need for walking. A simple chair squat of standing up and sitting down is a great way to warm up the muscles you need for walking. Thighs, hamstrings, glutes. Stand up and sit down. Some very simple modifications you can make are raising the seating surface and or using your arms to stand up. Typically, 10 to 12 repetitions can do the trick. Secondly, is a simple side step. Stepping one way and then stepping the other. This warms up the outside hip muscles, very important for keeping you stable when walking and to help avoid limping. You can take this up a notch by adding a loop resistance band. Place it right around your shins and complete the same motion, focusing on keeping your feet pointed forwards, leading the step with the outside of your foot towards whatever is on either side of you. Keep your knees soft here. Try not to lock them out and sit your hips back slightly to get the most out of this movement. Typically 20 to 30 steps can be a great place to start and enough to activate those muscles. Next is choosing the right walking shoe. Shoes can make a big difference when you're out walking in helping to absorb stress from the ground and take some pressure off of the knee. Research has shown that stable and supportive shoes can be more beneficial when you have knee osteoarthritis compared to flatter and more flexible shoes. Here are 2 quick tests to see how stable and supportive your shoes are. First, take your walking shoe and hold it on either end. Then try to bend it and see where the shoe bends. So notice this shoe is bending right at pretty much where my toes would be walking. That natural bend. If I were to take a different shoe and bend it with the same force, we're getting a lot more bend here. So that could potentially indicate that this shoe isn't as stable. The next test is a twist test. So you're going to take your hands on either side of the shoe and simply try to twist it. See how this shoe is not really moving much, especially through the middle of the shoe. This indicates that there is likely more arch support here, and again, it's more stable. If I were to take a different shoe and apply the same force, I'm getting a lot more bend through this one. Again, indicating that it might not be as stable as we're looking for. One other thing when looking at a shoe is making sure that you have a wide toe box. So where your toes sit in the shoe, you want to make sure they're able to relax and they don't feel scrunched. If they feel scrunched, this can also lead to foot pain and can actually contribute to knee pain. So make sure your toes are able to relax. Shoes ultimately come down to your personal preference. These are just general guidelines. Trying on shoes is going to be the best, and seeing if you can actually walk around in them for a little bit just to see how they feel and how your body responds. Next is the use of hiking or trekking poles. Whether you're walking on uneven surfaces or even just around the neighborhood on sidewalks, these can be a great way to add additional support. When you're walking with poles, you want opposite pole, opposite foot to feed into a natural walking pattern. And when you're trying to get them to fit right, Typically, you want about a 90-degree angle of your elbow, maybe a little less, depending on what feels best. That can be a good starting point, and then you can adjust them based on what feels most comfortable and natural to you. Next, when you're walking, think about taking quicker and smaller steps. When you take big steps, you can actually put more pressure on the knee, but also the front of the hip. Especially if you're trying to walk faster, a lot of times people then aim to try to take big steps. Instead, think about taking smaller, quicker steps. This is going to help take pressure off of the knees and make the hips feel better. One cue I found to be really helpful for this is think about leading with your knee instead of reaching with your foot. So lead with your knee to take smaller, quicker steps instead of trying to reach with your foot. Think about that the next time you're walking and see if your steps naturally shorten. We don't particularly want shuffling, so you do want to make sure that you're still picking your foot up with each step, but it's not a fact of trying to take as big of steps as you can. And this can actually help your knees feel better. If you find yourself out walking and you are starting to experience significant pain, a quick rest break and just some very simple movements can work magic. A couple of my go-to exercises include just simply raising up onto your toes, lifting your heels. Also, alternating taking steps back. And thirdly, swinging one leg out to the side and then repeating on the other side. All three of these movements help to take pressure off of the knees and to mix up the movements and the way the muscles are working to allow them just a quick rest and then allowing you to continue on. Lastly, if you are regularly experiencing significant knee pain when you're out walking, don't just ignore it. Listen to your body. Pain is a way that your body communicates with you. It is telling you something. Whether you need to modify the walking distance, decrease the walking distance, or maybe you're walking too often throughout the week and need to substitute it with something else, say strength training or a different mode of exercise like biking. Maybe your body's trying to tell you that you don't necessarily have the appropriate muscle strength to be able to support the knees, and you need some more strengthening in your life. Or your body's telling you that you are just trying to walk too far right now, and maybe you need to take a break. These are three common scenarios that can help decrease that significant pain. You have to listen to your body and increase your distance gradually. Add in variety to your movements. Challenge your body in new ways to unlock more strength, balance, and stamina. You can do so inside of my Arthritis workout membership, Adventurers for Life, where you can join in and follow along workouts with me, strengthening the right muscles, working on mobility you need for walking and other activities, giving you a customized path so you can start making changes today. And I do have a link for that, which is down in the description. You can also find it in the comments. With these 6 tips, you can not only make walking easier, but also help it feel better on your knees. Meaning you're not going to pay for it later in pain or stiffness, and you can finally start enjoying walking again. If you found this video helpful, make sure to share it with at least one other person who you know might be dealing with knee pain when walking. Subscribe to the channel by clicking the circle right here so you can stay updated when I release new videos. Thank you for spending just a few minutes with me today to help yourself regain your active life.